Jujutsu Kaisen has showcased many different sorcerers from past eras who returned to enter the Koan games, but are these sorcerers too stuck on the past? Many of these sorcerers came back to enter the fight once again and go back to the golden days of sorcery, but why do all of that? Could it be because they all had regrets in their life from their past life that enabled them to want to join the fight again and have fun? KiiNGKhyy had made many vessels to carry these sorcerers through cursed objects, allowing them to come back. He had made vows with everyone a millennium ago and is now trying to begin the golden age of cursed techniques once again. The world of Heian. The Heian era is considered the golden age of sorcery, and many sorcerers from that era are now back and want to be a part of the modern world. You can tell that many of them are jealous that they cannot become a cursed object like Sukuna to be able to be revived like he was, and instead made a contract with KiiNGKhyy to come back at a certain time. All of these sorcerers wanted to come back so badly just to return to that golden era. It feels like they are stuck in their past and want to return to that era, but that era will just never return. Life isn't what it was back then, and these sorcerers need to understand that. I will go over some of the characters from the past eras and detail what their regrets could be and why they are so stuck in their ways from that era. First we have Kishimo. Now Kishimo came back under KiiNGKhy's deal because he wanted to face Sukuna and find out how he could connect with others and love people beneath him. He wasn't able to find the answer when he was alive in his era and instead sought out after the strongest person KiiNGKhyy has ever known, which is Sukuna. Sukuna tells him that he is too greedy, which is exactly right for Kishimo's case. He's trying to earn the validation from Sukuna to find the answer in his heart. Things going against Sukuna will help him find the answer, but he already has the answer. Sukuna tells him he has the answer, but he just can't comprehend it. Kishimo's stance was pretty hypocritical as he didn't know how to love those beneath him. He challenged every one of them, yet he is still seeking an answer from someone above him like Sukuna. Sukuna is someone who just responds to love by challenging that person and giving them death. He's going on this whole quest to find out what being the strongest is like, but still needs someone like Sukuna to validate for him if solitude is the only way. Kishimo doesn't need to ask for validation. If he felt like he was the strongest, then he would have his own answer for himself. We see characters like him and Gojo try to connect with Sukuna and understand, but it never works. Sukuna is on a completely different level than others. He doesn't care to be understood or to love others beneath him. He simply does what he wants. Kishimo never really found his answer until coming back in the Koan games and facing Sukuna that lets him realize what it means to be the strongest. Then we have Sukuna. He was known as the strongest sorcerer ever and could not be defeated, yet turned himself into 20 cursed objects to eventually come back into the world yet again. It seems odd for Sukuna to come back like he had a regret, but for him this might not be the case. He can't connect with others and has no care in the world to do so. He lives according to his own stature, and if he can't be understood, then that's other people's problems. He doesn't mind going after humans until the day he dies. I still feel that someone like Sukuna lived with some regrets and turned himself into a cursed object. It was never stated that Sukuna ever lost, so his intention to come back must be to just have fun again. KiiNGKhyy reminds Sukuna that the golden age of the Heian era is returning, and this must have been good to hear for Sukuna. Even when he first appears in Yujin's body, he talks about cursed spirit's flesh being no fun, and he asks where are all the people, specifically the woman. He only cares about total destruction and will traverse the ages just to continue that force. He does the same as they come and has no real reason to even be back. He lives for his own sake and does what he wants. Everyone now wants to be a part of the modern era, and KiiNGKhyy made that happen for his plans. I'm sure Sukuna has something that he wants to live out and do as he accepted KiiNGKhy's proposal to become a cursed object and made a binding vow with him, which seems very odd that someone like Sukuna would make a binding vow. He was put into the Koan games as a participant because of it and now has to serve out something with KiiNGKhyy to fulfill his plans. Now for Angel, she already admits that she agreed to take KiiNGKhy's offer because her and others were not able to become cursed objects like Sukuna after death, and thus wanted to be able to come back as well. Many past sorcerers continue to want to be a part of more after their death, and Angel mainly came back because KiiNGKhy's actions would cause destruction, and it was against her creed. She also wishes to purge all the Incarnated players. She's someone who stands on business and just wants to fulfill her role and not allow the destruction to be used. She's the only person who came back incarnated and chose to exist with Hana rather than taking her over. I think Angel was a good fit, being able to unseal Gojo, and especially now that Hana's body is unable to battle currently, she really has no other choice but to watch everyone else. Angel's reasonings for coming back make sense, and she's not too bent on her past as well, as she understands people and can come to terms in the modern era. She talks a little bit about her creed, but doesn't get too much into it, and maybe she could also have something more to do on her sleeve, as defeating all the incarnate players is unlikely for her currently. She must rely on the other players to do it for her after she freed Gojo. She specifically went after Sukuna first to try to get rid of him, as he is known as a fallen, someone who has fallen from grace, and Angel wanted to get rid of him the most. As she is unable to do that currently, she might not have a pivotal role, but it could be big in later on, as her curse technique is very useful. For Uro, she was a former captain of the Jujutsu unit who reported directly to the assassination team of the Fujiwara clan. She willingly admits that she came back because she had regrets in her previous life. The Koan games is used as a second chance at life, and she is taking full advantage of this opportunity. She felt betrayed by Utah's ancestors and doesn't care to slaughter people as long as she can make a name of herself this time around. She couldn't understand Utah's resolve at the time and really just wanted to settle things her way now in her new life. It's understandable for her to come back as she felt that way in her past, and goes to show how vulnerable these players really are and why they are coming back into the modern era to fulfill the goals they wanted to achieve in their past life, but regret not being able to do so. Uro showed a lot of anger and jealousy for someone like Utah because of the fact that he was blessed. Feeling betrayed is a devious thing, and it let out all the emotions for Uro. Ryu was also someone brought into the game as an incarnate player, and he didn't really have any regrets, but the fights he had in his previous life didn't satisfy him enough, and so he took up KiiNGKhy's offer. Ryu has never been full and wanted to find an opponent who could push his abilities to the limit. With his fight against Utah, he was able to now be full for the first time. He has the same ordeal with Kishimo about finding stronger opponents to be satisfied in life. He would not want to lose any other way than by giving it his all, and that's what he did. The question really asks if the past sorcerers care a little too much from the past eras, as they all seem to live with regrets and want to come back. These sorcerers were all intrigued by KiiNGKhy's offer and took his agreement just to rewrite their wrongs for the past, find satisfaction they couldn't find before, or just simply be interested in the modern era. I feel like a lot of the incarnate players were too stuck in their own eras that they tried to bring their issues and drama into the modern era. A lot of them have regrets and want to fulfill those misdeeds, but dragging along with this personal vendetta and trying to go back to the golden age of sorcery just won't happen. The Heian era must have been quite a time, but it's over now and the modern era is used differently. Even now, most of the incarnated players still can't keep up with the modern sorcerers and are just looking clueless out there as they hunt for the next obstacle. I think many of them just envy Sukuna for being able to become a cursed object and are mad they weren't able to do the same thing. Because of this, many are curious in KiiNGKhyy who showed him how to do it, and also dislike KiiNGKhyy because of who he is. Too many times now we were brought up to the point of how the past was and why it was so great, and these players have to adapt to the way the world works now. Do you guys think that the incarnated players are too stuck in their own eras? Let me know in the comments as we wait for the next Jujutsu Kaisen chapter, chapter 241. Well, I thank you guys for watching the video. Please like, comment, subscribe, and I'll be back in the next one. Peace.